In this lesson, I want to talk to you about purchase orders, which may or may not be something that you or your clients ever actually use. So a purchase order can be found clicking our plus new icon under vendors, and then you can click here on purchase order. Now, if your client or you are a service-based business and you aren't tracking inventory, you're not purchasing products to turn around and resell, then there's probably not a scenario where you would ever need to use a purchase order. But if you do track inventory, you do make purchases of product or merchandise from vendors, and then you're going to turn around and resell it, that's when a purchase order can be useful. So, for example, if we want to talk about a service-based business that might do this, I've had a client who was in like computer repair, and so he provided a service which was computer repair, but sometimes he'd have to order custom parts and then install them, and he'd bill the client for those parts. So we're going to use an example like that to demonstrate. So let's do Computers by Jenny as our vendor, and let's pretend that that's our exact scenario. Pretend it's not, landscaping and design. We'll pretend that Craig, for some reason, is repairing a computer for someone. And so he might create a purchase order for Computers by Jenny, and then he's probably going to go to the item details and pick a product or service. And in this case, let's add a new one because this isn't what this is actually for. And I personally don't use or recommend the inventory features inside of QuickBooks Online. Just for my own clients, typically, if they need inventory tracked, there's just better apps out there. So I'm going to create a non-inventory item. I'm just going to call it computer part because, again, this is just a demo. And we're going to sell this product or service, computer part, and I'm just going to leave it, I'm going to leave this under services for now. And then we also purchase this, we'll leave it as purchases and save and close. And again, when you have a real client, you're going to know all of that information. We're not just going to be making it up on the fly. So let's pretend this computer part costs $50. And we're specifically ordering this part from Computers by Jenny for one of our customers. So let's say we're ordering it for Amy's Bird Sanctuary because later we want to be able to invoice Amy for this part that we purchased. Okay, so I'm going to hit save. Now, once we've created the purchase order, this is a non-posting transaction, meaning that it doesn't affect the financial statements in any way in QuickBooks Online. So we've created this purchase order. You'll see here that we have two purchase order status options. We have open and we have closed. So you can use that for your client or for you to just sort of track where we're at with these purchase orders. You'll also notice you have this button here for copy to bill. So when you submit the purchase order to the vendor and then the vendor supplies the parts and they send you an invoice for it, then you can just click copy to bill. And that will allow you to quickly enter in the bill that you need to pay to that vendor. So it's linking it to the purchase order here, so that we have a nice paper trail. It shows the vendor name. The bill will say the terms. So these are provided by the vendor, in this case, Computers by Jenny. So you would read the bill to see what the terms are, what the date was they sent the bill, what number they put on the bill. And then you're going to verify that you received whatever you had on the PO. So one computer part for $50 to Amy's Bird Sanctuary. And right here, I want to make sure I mark this as billable. So that way I can turn around and charge Amy's Bird Sanctuary. So I'm going to hit save right here. Okay, so now we've created the bill from this purchase order. And again, you can see it's linked right here. So we can just click on this purchase order. We can come look at it again if we need any details from it. And we should also be able to then bill this transaction to Amy. So again, we've received it. So notice it says closed. Because we received it, we got the bill. It updated that purchase order for received and closed. Isn't that cool? So, all right, we're going to hit save and close. And then I just want to show you when we go to Amy, we'll just click on her here from the Customer Center. Come on, QuickBooks, here we go. Now we can, so see here, the transaction is showing. and we can turn around and we can create an invoice now for Amy to bill her for the part. Now, in this scenario, because we're actually doing the computer repair, which is going to include a service aspect, and we're billing for the part, you could click on that there and then you would add your, labor, or let's do a service called labor. And again, I'm just going to hit save because we're just making a demo really quick. Where'd our part go? Here we go. All right, you put your description in here. Maybe it was $75 for 1 hour, not taxable. And then we can hit save and send that invoice straight to Amy for the work that we've done. So just to recap really quickly, if you want to create a new purchase order, you're going to go new, and then under vendors, you can create a purchase order, because a purchase order is used to purchase materials from a vendor, even though we can then turn around and convert that purchase order into a bill and into a charge to our client.